Hello, dear student, first prep. Today we will continue our science sessions تحت رعاية وإشراف وزارة التربية والتعليم. Our lesson today is about characteristics of matter, and I know that you don't know what's meant by the big word characteristics. Characteristics means properties. If we talk about a person and we talk about his properties, he has a black hair. The black hair represents his properties. He has a black eye. Black eye means his properties. So we are going to talk about properties of matter. First, we are going to explain what's meant by matter. Matter is anything that has mass and volume. So what we mean by mass. First, anything that has mass and volume. Volume means occupy space, take place. What we mean by mass means the amount of material inside the body. The amount of material inside any body represents his mass. Like what? Like a book. Inside the book there is a papers. The papers represent the mass of this book. Like what? Like a table made of wood. The amount of wood found inside this table represent the mass of this table. طيب, what about the volume? يعني إيه كلمة volume? First, before talking about volume, we will talk about the measuring unit of mass, which is gram and kilogram. Of course, you hear this word before. What's meant by mass is the amount of material. The unit of measuring the mass is what? The unit of measuring the mass is kilogram or gram. What's meant by volume? Volume means the space taken by the body or the space occupied by this matter. I mean by body, matter. Okay, what about the measuring unit of volume? The measuring unit of volume is centimeter cube, and I can say it by other word, cubic centimeter or meter cube or cubic meter. Of course, the biggest one is cubic meter. Let us explain what is meant by cubic centimeter. What's meant by cubic centimeter? Concentrate with me. We have here a cuboid, like this. This cuboid has length, height, and width. Okay? The length is measured by centimeter, and also the width centimeter, height centimeter. If you want to bring the volume is length times width times height. Each one is measured by centimeter. So we have here 3 centimeter. That is why we call the unit of volume cubic centimeter. Okay. Characteristics or properties can be classified into 2 points. The first point is physical properties, and the second is chemical properties. What do we mean by physical properties? If we talk about a person, the color of his hair is the physical properties. The color of his eye is the physical properties. His shape, his physical properties. What about chemical properties? His blood composition, the composition of his organ or system, we call it chemical properties. So the outer properties, we call it physical properties. The inner one, we call it what? Chemical properties. So if we talk about physical properties, I mean color, taste, and smell. How can you differentiate between the following? And we have here gold, and sound coming from these systems. And here we have bowl with different texture and thermometer and a beaker containing certain liquid has certain smell. How can you differentiate between iron, silver, and gold? By seeing the color. We have black color here for iron. We have silver color for silver or grayish one. We have yellow color for gold. So, as shown here, by seeing, okay? By seeing the color. How can you differentiate between table salt and sugar? How can you differentiate between them? They have the same color, but we can differentiate by tasting it, okay? Perfume and vinegar. You know what's meant by vinegar? خل, الخل. How can you differentiate between them? By smell. Of course you can differentiate. You can know the difference. But I can't do it with water or oxygen. Why? Because water has no color, has no smell, and also oxygen. طب how can I differentiate between them? By density. What do we mean by density? I will explain it clearly. If we have a beaker like this or a test tube like this, and we fill it with honey, sugar, syrup, and dishwashing liquid, and water, and edible oil. What's meant by edible? Edible means can be eating. عارفين الزيت اللي احنا بنحمر فيه وبنشتغل بيه في المطبخ هو ده edible oil. When we put it all over each other, we will see this color. We will see honey and then the sugar syrup and washing liquid and also water and edible oil. Why they are organized like this? Due to the difference in their density. طب what do I mean by density? يعني ايه density? It is the mass per unit volume. يعني ايه برضو mass per unit volume? The amount of material inside each substance control its density. يعني ايه الكلام ده؟ كل ما البارتيكلز تزيد يعني عددها يزيد per unit area عند area معينة مساحة معينة معنى كده ان الدنسيتي بتزيد. طيب يعني معنى كده ان الهاني is heavier than sugar syrup? Yes, it is heavier. معنى كده ان الديش واشنج ليكويد هو heavier اتقل من الووتر؟ Yes, هو اتقل. What about اتقل من الشوجر سيرب؟ طب what about الووتر؟ اخف من الديش واشر ليكويد؟ Yes. طب what about الاويل؟ الاويل is floating at the surface because it is the lightest one. Why؟ هو اخف واحد، هو عدد البارتيكلز اللي فيه خفيف جدا. That is why ان الاويل بيبقى floating at the surface. طبعا احنا كلنا بنشوف ده لما بتحط اويل على ميه تبص تلاقي الاويل floating فوق. طب معنى كده ان كل واحد فيهم عنده different density؟ Yes, عنده different density. عنده ايه؟ البارتيكلز بتاعته بتبقى اتقل. طيب زي ايه كمان؟ انا لما بقول هنا mass per unit volume of a substance I can say instead of using unit volume I can say 1 cubic centimeter. As you know from the previous explanation that volume is measured by cubic centimeter. طيب what's meant why I put here 1? What do I mean by 1? Unit. Unit means 1 يعني 1 cubic centimeter. It is fixed value for the same material. يعني ايه الكلام ده؟ يعني الاماونت اوف بارتيكلز دي اللي متوزعه على 1 كيوبيك سنتيمتر بصفه عامه في كل المواد في كل السبستنس. طب يعني ايه برضو الكلام ده؟ mass per unit volume means الماس divided by volume. يعني انا بقسم الماس على الفوليوم. يعني ايه برضو؟ يعني ايه الكلام ده؟ عارفين شكل التريانجل ده؟ ده mathematical equation. I am going to solve problem by using this rule. طب how can I use this rule؟ هو مش دايما هيطلب مني الدنسيتي عشان اقسم الماس على الفوليوم، ما هو ممكن يطلب مني الفوليوم، ممكن يطلب مني الماس، مش كل مره هيطلب مني الدنسيتي. طب اعمل ايه ساعتها؟ ارسم التريانجل ده. طيب هعمل بيه ايه؟ بسيط جدا. You are going to cover the one you needed. If you want the mass, I am going to cover the mass like this. So here density means what? Mass means equal what? Density multiplied by volume. طب أنا عايزة الدنسيتي أخبيها hide it means what? Mass divided by volume. طيب تعالوا نشوف كده. الدنسيتي mass divided by volume أهو أنا I hide the mass like this يبقى mass على volume. Okay. What else? عايزة الفوليوم. I will hide the volume. Okay. It will be equal mass over density. طيب عايزة الماس. I will hide the mass. Equal what? Density multiplied by volume. Okay. طيب problems. نحل مسائل. It's too easy. تعالوا نشوف المسألة دي. It's very very easy. A piece of iron has a volume of 10 cubic centimeter. I will mention again, I can say cubic centimeter or centimeter cube. Both of them are right. And a mass of 78 gram. Find its density. هعمل ايه؟ ايه الرول اللي هحطه عشان اجيب الدنسيتي؟ It's very easy. Density equal mass over volume. Okay. Density equal mass over volume means mass divided by volume. طيب أنا عندي هنا الفوليوم بكام؟ الفوليوم 78. 78 إيه؟ cubic centimeter divided by what? Divided by 10. 10 here 78 gram divided by 10 cubic centimeter. So we have here 7.8 gram per cubic centimeter. طب why gram is here in the numerator؟ ليه هي فوق وليه سنتيمتر كيوب تحت؟ لأن طبيعي جدا إن الماس بيتقاس بالجرام وهو اللي فوق. احنا بنديفايد الماس على الفوليوم. والفوليوم هو في الدومينيتور الجزء اللي تحت في البوتوم فبيتقاس بالكيوبيك سنتيمتر. Okay. So here 7.8. Another problem. A piece of wood has a density 0.4 gram per cubic centimeter. He's talking about density. عايز أسأل سؤال هنا مهم قوي. If he didn't mention the density at all, but he said that a wooden book, a piece of wood of 0.5 gram per cubic centimeter. I can know from this unit he is talking about what? Yes of course. بيتكلم على الدنسيتي طبعا. طب عرفت منين؟ عرفت ان هو قال لي جرام per cubic centimeter. And this is the unit of measuring the density. طيب بعدين and a volume of 20 cubic centimeter. طب لو ما قاليش volume خالص وقال لي ان هو 20 cubic centimeter. He means what? He means that it is a volume because this is the unit of measuring the volume. Find its mass. طيب اعمل ايه اول حاجه؟ اول حاجه لازم اعملها لازم اكتب القانون. لازم ملهاش حل. اول حاجه في اي حل مساله اكتب القانون. طيب هو عايز ايه؟ عايز الماس. I will hide the mass. هكتب التريانجل وهايد ذا ماس. طيب الماس ايكوال ايه؟ هلاقيها density في volume. اوكي. طب وبعدين 0.4 which represents the density multiplied by 20 it will be 8 gram which is the mass. Don't forget the unit. طيب on solving أو during solving any problem أنا بعمل إيه؟ أول حاجة لازم تعملها على طول بكتب القانون. Write the rule and then substitute. لازم أكتب القانون؟ Yes of course. مهم قوي. أكتب القانون الأول and then substitute. And then calculate. بستخدم الكالكوليشن خلاص بعمل هنا multiplication أو divide whatever. طيب طلع لي الفاليو الريزلت. أكتب إيه بعد الريزلت؟ أكتب اليونت اوف measuring. يبقى هما هنا 4 حاجات. إيه هما ال4 حاجات؟ I must first write إيه؟ the rule. And then substitute. Calculate. And then the last point I should write the unit. Don't forget the unit. Okay? Okay, let's continue with each other our rest of the lesson. Equal volume of different material have different masses. What do we mean by this? This is a piece of wood. And this a piece of metal. and I mean by metal here aluminium, iron, copper, whatever the type of metal. And this is a piece of foams or a piece of rubber, but here it is a piece of foams. Do the three pieces have the same weight, the same mass? Of course not. Wood is lighter than metal. Wood is lighter than iron or copper. طيب, what about foams? Foam is lighter than metal and also than wood. طيب, معنى كده ايه؟ Equal volume here, they are all equal in volume, but they are different in masses. If you put it over a balance, ميزان، لو جيت وزنتها هتبص تلاقي ان الفومز has no value. 5 grams compared by 1 kilo for the metal. So here, equal volume of different material have different masses. Of course, الفوليوم ده عندي مش مشكلة. طيب, because they have different density. طب يعني ايه؟ مش احنا بنقول ان الماس حاجة مهمة جدا وفاكتور او حاجة مهمة جدا الدنسيتي بتعتمد عليها؟ ازاي؟ لان انا بعمل ايه؟ بعمل ديفيجن، بقسم الماس على الفوليوم. فلو عندي هنا الماس مختلف فهيبقى طبعا different substance عندها different density of course. طيب, equal masses of different material have different volume. طبيعي جدا. ازاي؟ piece of wood و piece of iron, which one is smaller? The piece of iron اللي هو الميتال. طب what about their weight, their mass؟ أكيد الميتال طبعا أتقل. عندي piece of iron حديدة، حتة حديدة تقيلة، وحتة كبيرة جدا من الوود. طيب إيه الفرق بينهم؟ الفرق بينهم الماس. لو جيت وزنت دي رغم إن الوود قد كده كبير جدا، بس هلاقيه إيه؟ أخف كتير قوي من البيس, the small piece of iron. طيب, because they have different ايه؟ different density. لأن ال density depend on ايه؟ بتعتمد على ايه؟ بتعتمد على الماس. طيب, problem. تعالوا نشوف كده. A mass of empty container. Here we have a container. The empty container 75. And here we have measuring cylinder. Of course this is a measuring cylinder and it is graduated from down to up. يعني وانا ماشية كده من تحت لفوق 10 20 30 40 لحد ما اوصل مثلا لل 100. ده كام؟ 75 ملي، والملي هنا قد بالظبط الجرام، يعني الملي والجرام قد بعض. طيب, او لما اجي هنا بعد كده بحط في الكونتينر ده some liquid, mass of some liquid يعني هيبقى 135 جرام. طيب, الفوليوم اوف liquid لوحده كام؟ انا هعمل subtraction، هيبقى كام؟ هنشوف 135 الماس اوف liquid 135 minus 75 means 60 جرام. اوكي. طب what about the density بقى؟ the density of this liquid I must divide الماس over volume. طيب, الماس بكام؟ 75. (135 minus 75 equals 60 gram. 60 gram means the mass of the liquid. So the density, mass over volume, 60 over 100, which is mean 0.6 gram per cubic centimeter. طب أنا لازم أكتب اليونت؟ لازم أكتب اليونت. طيب, أنا بعمل إيه؟ أنا بكتب الرول وبعمل substitution and then I write اليونت. Another problem. The opposite figure, we have here two measuring cylinders. If a piece of copper of mass 176 gram is immersed in a water put in graduated cylinder, the level of water rises, calculate the density. هنا هنقف هنتكلم وهنرجع شوية لفورس primary. I know quite well that you know this experiment. How? I have here empty measuring cylinder and I fill it with water and then I measure the volume of water. As shown here, the volume of water is 60, as shown here. Okay? Type. What about the other measuring cylinder? The other measuring cylinder, I immersed in it a piece of copper of mass 176 gram. يعني هحط جواه piece of copper بالظبط كام؟ 176 gram. And then I will measure the volume again. It will be 80. يعني نشوف كده ال volume of the copper V2 minus V1. Which one is V2? V2 is 80 centimeter cube. طب which one is V1? V1 is 60 centimeter cube. So 80 minus 60 equal 20 centimeter cube. So here I bring the volume of copper. He wants what? He wants the density of copper. طب I should do what? ايه الرول اللي احنا اتفقنا عليه؟ الرول بيقول ان الدنستي اي density بقى equal ايه؟ mass over volume. So I will divide. Here I have the volume 20 and I have the mass 176. So I will divide 176 over 20, which is equal 8.8 gram per cubic centimeter. طيب يعني ايه كلمة per؟ فاكرين احنا قلنا ايه في اول اللسن؟ per means divide. Okay. To compare between the density of some substance and water. هنعمل ايه؟ Step 1. Fill a bowl of water and put the following substance. هاخد مواد معينة هحطها جوه المية. أنا مليت جار مليته بمية وهحط فيه مواد معينة. إيه المواد دي؟ هحط أول حاجة هحط piece of wood قطعة خشب صغيرة. طب إيه كمان؟ an iron nail مسمار صغير معمول من الأيرن. وإيه كمان؟ an ice cube piece of ice حتة تلجة صغيرة جدا. وهحط piece of cork. الكورك هنا حاجة زي الفومز أو الرابر. أوكي؟ طيب وبيس اوف واكس قطعة من الشمع. طيب هيحصل إيه بقى؟ ودروب اوف اويل كمان. يعني I have here 6 substance. I have here a piece of wood. I have an iron nail, an ice cube, a piece of cork, piece of wax and drop of oil. تعالوا بقى نشوف مع بعض دلوقتي ازاي نعمل practice ونعمل حاجة فيها تفكير شوية. Let's practice 1. Here we have three cubes. Like this. The first cube, its mass is 500 gram. Okay? And its volume is 20 cubic centimeter. And here 200 gram and 10 cubic centimeter. The third one is 100 gram and 2 cubic centimeter. I want you to arrange which one has the biggest density. Of course, if you want to know which one has the biggest density, you should calculate. 500 gram, he is talking about mass. I know that density equal mass over volume. Okay? So, which is equal 500 gram, like this, 20 cubic centimeter. He's talking about what? Talking about volume, of course, because the unit of measuring the volume is cubic centimeter. So we have here 25. What is the unit of density? I have here mass, which is gram, okay, over or per cubic centimeter. This is the first cube, this is the first one. What about the second one? The second one, here, of course, I'm going to use this rule. I have here 200 gram, which is what the mass, over 10 cubic centimeter. 0, 0, 20 over 1 means 20 what gram per cubic centimeter. The third one, I have here 100 gram, and 100 gram means what? Means mass. So I have here 100 over 2, which is 50 gram per cubic centimeter. Can I arrange them? Which one is the biggest one? Or arrange them descendingly? Do you know what's meant by descendingly? Means من الكبير للصغير. طب مين أكبر واحد فيهم؟ أكبر واحد فيهم مين؟ 3, 1 ولا 2؟ Of course مين؟ 3. So I have here 3, the first one. طب مين بعديه؟ ده أكبر واحد. طب مين بعديه؟ ها؟ 2 or 1? I have here 20 gram per cubic centimeter, and I have here 25 gram per cubic centimeter. But which one? مين فيهم؟ 25, which is what? 1. يبقى بعد كده في 1 وبعد كده في مين؟ 2 هو آخر واحد. لما بمشي في الاتجاه ده، بمشي في الدايركشن ده، ايه اللي بيحصل؟ الدنسيتي مالها؟ What about the density here? Decrease. اوكي؟ يعني وانا ماشيه في الاتجاه ده الدنسيتي بيحصل لها ايه؟ Decrease. خلاص؟ عندي هنا 50, 25 and 20. This question is very important. It measures your understanding. Here we have 3 cubes. This cube, each one has certain density. By calculating them, I found these values. And then you are going to arrange them from big to small, like this. Okay? Okay, let us revise our lesson today. We talked about matter and what's meant by matter. We talked about mass and volume and the relation between them and what's meant by density. We solve problems related to density, and then we make a practice like this one. This is very important problem. This is our lesson today. Inshallah, next period, our next session, we will continue. Thank you. Bye-bye.